Hey everyone, so I'm back with a new video and we have a lot to discuss with the recent developments of what is going on in the world of Harry and Meghan, from body language exposure showing how these two just absolutely do not like each other or respect each other, to the controversy in lots of other areas that are going on in their life. So if you're like me, you want to get to the truth of everything, then this could be the channel for you. If you haven't subscribed, please think about doing so. And please make sure you click that like button before you leave the video. That being said, go grab your drink of choice, whatever that may be. Sit back, relax as we get into some tea with some therapeutic knowledge. Hey everyone, so welcome to those of you who have been with me for a long time, and for those of you who are new and are just joining here. I hope you have had a really restful weekend, or whatever you were doing, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Right, so Harry and Meghan, what we are here for. Now I know that so many of you are so sick and tired of these two. Believe you me, I absolutely agree with you. I am, but they are the grift that keeps on grifting. Now, if you want other things, but you still want to support me as a person, then head across to my Bite-Size Tea channel, where I have just uploaded a video on Sarah Boone and George Torres. This is a criminal case, and Sarah Boone has just been convicted to life imprisonment. So I discuss the behaviour, looking at it from the relationship angle over on Bite-Size Tea. However, I've also done a video on my true crime channel. I know I haven't uploaded there for a long time, but I thought, well, I'm going to start doing that. So if you like the more criminal aspect of things, then head across to there, and I've just uploaded a video of the same type of thing, Sarah Boone and George Torres, but looking at it from the more criminal aspect of things. So I know that most of you like the body language aspect of what I do in the video, so I have done that here today. I have looked at the body language and behavior aspect. So, of course, they've turned up for this humanitarian award. And I want to say thank you to all the people that probably emailed the company. But what we don't realise, of course, is that Harry and Meghan's Merchywell is partnered with this project. So, of course, basically, they're awarding themselves. So, of course, our emails are going to fall on deaf ears because they're connected to it. So they've turned up to this, obviously, award. And I think the more this goes on, the more we can see the absolute disdain from these two to each other. And so I'm going to show you the clips that I found, and I've pieced them together, and then we're going to talk about it at the end. So I have done a voiceover. There's only one moment where you hear her voice, but it's important because of the thing that she says. But I really want you to look at the behaviour. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people have covered this, but as you know, I do like to explore a little bit deeper and give you what I feel is really going on here. So here's the collage of videos that I found, and I'm going to, let's say, we'll talk about it afterwards. So I'm showing this bit in the entirety, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow some of these pieces down to show you what I caught. But let's just see if you notice it before it's slowed down of what she does. So yeah, so here we have the whole thing, and then here we go again. So they're walking on to this bit. Huh? Hi, have my photograph taken. Then she looks up to him in a minute. There we go. But he doesn't meet her gaze. So look, here we have. She looks up at him. He doesn't meet her gaze. Look at her face. Her smile doesn't change, but her eyes say everything. She is not happy. And then she tries to do it again in a minute. So you'll see it. So she does it for a second time. She goes to look up at him again, and he refuses to even acknowledge her. So there's a moment where she's doing this here. She taps his elbow to get his attention. And I'll show you that bit in a minute. But yeah, she is not happy at all here because he's not acknowledged her. And then he goes to sort of pull her away, and she's like, no, I'm busy having my photograph taken. Thank you very much. But yeah, she looks up at him. So this is where she tries to grab his hand, and he tries to not let her do it, but she's persistent. So in the end, he gives in, because obviously then it's going to show too much on camera if he's doing that. But yeah, you'll see it here. So twice she does it.
She looks up at him. He doesn't acknowledge her. In fact, he purses his mouth. So he knows, but he's ignoring her and her face. She's like, she knows that he knows, and she is not happy that he's not played ball on that moment. And then she does it for a second time. She tries again, and he still is not acknowledging her. There you go. And she is not happy at all. Second time, tries to look up at him. He doesn't acknowledge. In fact, he looks away. And look at her face. She knows. And he does an eye block and looks away, and then she eye blocks and looks. And so it's that forced grin of like, yeah, I know what you're doing. And he knows. These two do not like each other. I've said this before a million times. They are in an arrangement. And then he's then sort of trying to acknowledge that she ignores the conversation there. He's talking. She's bored. She's just gone back to having my picture taken. Because it's all about me. And then she like turns back saying, hi. Yeah, and then we have it again in slow motion. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that glare. Look at that look away. That absolute look of disdain. When he doesn't acknowledge her. And he knows. Oh. There you go. And there she taps him. Do you see that? This is where he goes to greet. And she's like, remember me? But it's like a sleight of hand, which could have been, oh, I've been trying, you know, again, plausible deniability, if anyone picks up on it. And then we have a mask slip here where she turns. And then when she realises the camera's on her, she then goes to smile. They're just there, those micro expressions, because she believed that he was following her, but he stopped to talk. And she's like, oh, how dare you stop and talk to somebody without me? But then, yeah, look, complete switch. It's so apparent. And this is another interesting moment. So he doesn't acknowledge her. And she knows, and she looks right at him. So normally he would introduce her, and he hasn't. And, you know, she's standing there, so he's talking. And then that moment, like, look, he literally grimaces, steps back, doesn't even look in her direction. She knows, and she goes to the podium, and then she looks at him. And that look, that's it to me. And then look, he looks down. This is not a couple that loves each other or respects each other.
Our children, Archie and Lily, are just 6 and 4 years old. Luckily, still too young for social media, but we know that day is coming. And
I sped that bit up. That's all she does. Mentions their ages. But look at Harry's face while she's talking. But the irony being is that she says they're too young for social media, yet she consistently puts them on her social media. So it's like, what are you talking about? But look at his face. The self-soothing. He's rocking back and forth. His mouth is clenched. He's looking actually quite flushed. He is not interested in her at all. In fact, I'd say it was the complete opposite of anything. This is not just someone that's not used to standing up and talking to people. He's absolutely used to that. But look at his mouth, the way he looks down. There is no admiration, no love, no nothing. Even when he claps in a minute here, he doesn't even look at her. Now look at her face. Like the way she turns. So he's not even looking at her. Now she looks at him, cocks her head to get his eye contact, and look at Harry's face. So she tilts her head in a minute. Watch. There we go. Like she's trying to get his eye contact. Look at the way he looks at her. And then we have this pathetic staged moment that was put on her Instagram. And my guess is she saw all of the comments of how they were together. And so she's like, no, we've got to put this out. But this is so forced and so staged. And who has a camera in that moment?
So before I get going, I just want to say thank you to everybody who hyped my videos. So I got to number 80. I got a little award, little certificate that says that of all the videos that were hyped, mine got to number 80. Now, I know that probably seems like it's not a lot, but when you bear in mind how many YouTubers in the UK there are, And so for me to get to number 80 is a massive thing. So thank you so much for getting me to number 80 with all of you hyping my videos. I really am blown away. So thank you. So just to remind you that before you leave the video, please think about hitting that like button. And also if you haven't subscribed, then please think about doing so, because it, like I say, it does help the algorithm. So there are various ways that you can help support the free therapy program that most of you know that I run, where all the proceeds from my YouTube channels go towards me helping people have therapy for free for 6 to 12 sessions, maybe more depending on each individual case. But so far I have worked with over 50 people that have had free therapy with me. I also answer emails. I help people and support people if they just want a bit of advice over email. So I always do that as well. So this helps fund that. I just want to say thank you again for all of your support. And now we're going to get back to the video. So as you can see from my voiceover, there was just so much of these two looking just absolutely like they do not like each other. I think the biggest takeaway for me was a couple of things. Was one, she always seems to just mention the children's ages. It's almost like she's got to remind herself that these children are the age that they are, but she starts off everything. There's nothing personal about these children.
Our kids are 4 and 6, and so because Archie and Lily are just 3 and 5, we have 2 little ones. They are now 4 and 6. Oh, it's great now that our little ones are little and enjoying every moment of it. Children, Archie and Lily, are just 6 and 4 years old.
So that's what she does. But if you look at Harry, when she's creating her speech, now, as I've said in the thing, you've only got to look at, he doesn't introduce her. The minute he steps back, she sort of looks at him, and he steps back and looks away from her. And he's doing that a lot. And you notice this because when you're if you look at, say, William and Catherine, when they look at each other, they sort of acknowledge, you can really see that these two are in tune together. Now, if you watch Meghan, she does this thing where she sort of almost glares at him because she wants him to meet her gaze. Because this whole thing of like, we're a loved up couple is what they're trying to sell. But I think with Harry, he's incredibly immature. I've said this before, that I think he has arrested development. So his responses are immature. And that is also his lack of response. So when she is trying to play the game of like, we're acting like we're in love, he's refusing to meet her gaze. And he does this on quite a few occasions. And you can see by her body language that it's really irked her, because what she does, which I've explained, is that she's looking up at him like she does. And because he doesn't meet her gaze, she then closes her eyes and looks away like this. And that's called an eye block. And that means that what he's just done has annoyed her, because if it hadn't, she would have just glanced up and then sort of carried on and looked away, but she doesn't. The grin is fixed, but she literally does, she looks up at him and then does this. And if you imagine yourself doing that when somebody has done something you don't like, that's disdain. That's annoyed me and you've not done what I want you to do, or that's disappointed me, or whatever it is. But we know with her being a narcissist, I wouldn't say that it's disappointment. It's more that he's not done what she's expected him to do, and she's annoyed by that. We then have the other instances when they're walking and she's so wanting to be having her photograph taken. You can look at the way she poses, and he's trying to sort of pull her along in a sense, and she's just like, nope, I need my photograph taken. But there's a moment like I showed you that he goes to talk to somebody, and you can see the moment of control with her where she literally, and she does it so quickly that most people who are not looking for it would miss it. And it could also be done as in like, oh, I just brush my hand against him. But you can absolutely see it, because when she does it, she looks up at him. So she literally lifts her arm up to tap him on the elbow when he goes to greet somebody, as if to say, excuse me, what about me? And she looks up at him, and he would be seeing this out of his peripheral vision. So he would know. And in that minute, you see him stepping back, and the way he looks, it's just defeat. It's almost like defeat. And he knows, like I see people in the comments say, surely he knows her by now. He absolutely knows her. And you can tell by this, like when they're up on the stage, he doesn't introduce her. And you can see that that's annoyed her because the way she looks at him. And then again, if you look at the very end, when she steps back from talking, she does this kind of look, as if to say, there you go. And you can see by Harry's face that he has his head down. And then when she sort of cocks her head like that, he sort of looks up at her, almost like sheepishly, like this is a mother reprimanding her son. So there's so many different things that people miss out on. And what's interesting is I think the media spot it, because when you go back and say, like, for example, when I've looked for these particular videos, I will only find them on social media. And what will happen is that as this starts to progress, the media will cut out bits, like when they're posting it, they will cut out those bits. So that to me shows that they are seeing what they're doing. They are seeing their behavior, because they're chopping the bit. Like, for example, the bit where he stepped back and didn't introduce her and she walks to the podium, that's cut. So it cuts from Harry talking to then suddenly Meghan talking. There isn't that moment. So that tells us that the media are seeing it. So then that means that why is that being cut out? So either the royal family are asking for that to be done, and I'm not so sure that they are, or Harry and Meghan are asking for that to be done, or Meghan especially, because for her, it is about curating this image of they're still so in love. So that to me is very, very, very telling. And again, she goes on and on about, like, say, the children's ages again. It's like that's all she knows. It's all she knows. And she's like, she's got to remind everybody that this is, you know, that they are the age that they are. So when you look at everything, it is so very, very apparent that these two absolutely despise each other. And then you also, like I say, you look at Harry and he's rocking. That self-soothing rocking back and forth like this when he's standing there. He's so uncomfortable. His head is down. He's not looking at her as if he's proud that she's talking. And say, when you look at William and Catherine, there's such a difference. And you can see it. There's mask slips with her, just momentary micro expressions where she actually exposes who she is. And in those moments, you see it. And Harry knows. He absolutely knows. Like the moment when she's trying to grab his hand and you can see that he doesn't want to grab her hand, but then she's persistent. A bit like that moment we saw, what was that video where they were sitting down? I can't remember where it was now. But they were sitting down and she went to grab his arm and he pulled it away. And then persistently, she grabbed it and literally held on to it. And this controlling behavior, if you look at that, if we reversed this to say a man doing what Meghan does to say a woman, we would absolutely be calling this out for an abusive relationship. But because it's her, people say nothing. They say nothing about it. And it is so plainly obvious when you look at how these two behave that this is now an arrangement. And I know that I bang on about this because I have said this from the word go, that these two, you've only got to go back and look at that wedding to see that this was, in my opinion, I believe this was forced. Now, whether or not Harry had already got the person pregnant at this point, because it seemed very, very quick to me that wedding took place. And like I say, there is a moment when the vicar is talking about, that's doing the vows, talks about children. And Harry smiles and looks at her and she does not meet his gaze. So to me, if she was pregnant at the time, say for example, then, and she was happy about it, they would both smile at that. It's almost like that knowing kind of, we know, but nobody else knows. So it's one of two things. At that point, Harry had already got somebody, that there was already a pregnancy happening, or she was faking a pregnancy at that moment. And she didn't meet his gaze because she knew she was lying. And probably in her mind, she was then going to be recreating the miscarriage afterwards. So there was definitely something going on there. And the fact that her wedding dress was very ill-fitted, so it makes sense that there was a possibility that she had created this wedding dress with the hope that people might acknowledge that she was pregnant. Whatever. Anyway, we don't know. But you've only got to look at the wedding. You've only got to look at the way that the royal family were looking. It's just so obvious between these two. This was, to me, a rushed situation. And their behaviour since they've left has been the same ever since. It's got progressively worse, So it's possible that initially Harry had feelings for her and was trying to make it work. That's never been the case with Meghan. She does not have feelings for him as in like she loves him. I don't care what anyone says, she doesn't. Narcissists are absolutely incapable of that level of healthy love. They just love what that mark means to them. So this is kind of enacted, but what I would guess is over time, her behaviour has got worse and worse, and he's now fully seen through her. So, and I'd also guess that this was on the back of this Diana footage that she put out, which, by the way, hardly anyone in the mainstream media has pulled her up on. You've only had the likes of, I think, is it Piers Morgan, Meghan Kelly, and a couple of others have pulled her up on it and called her out. But generally, the mainstream media have made excuses for her, have basically said, well, she said she didn't know, or it's Nia, and maybe she just didn't realise. Oh, come on. It's ludicrous to think that she did not know what she was doing. So you have that on the back, then you have this award ceremony on the back of that. So it sort of explains why he's probably so annoyed with her and why she's attempting to still make this look like they're so loved up and everything's all wonderful. So then we have the moment that apparently went up on her Instagram afterwards where they're just laughing with each other. Well, the guy that just continues to make me laugh. Oh, you're just so funny, H. Oh, gosh. It's so contrived, honestly, and it just, just therapist head aside, it makes me want to vomit. Because it is just so obvious. He's standing in the corner. They just happen to have a camera filming that moment, just to clarify. No, get it in the shot, Harry. Make sure that you think I'm funny. But notice he's off to the side and she's front and centre again. She's right at the front and she's front and centre because with a narcissist, it always has to be about them. So yeah, it is just the most cringeworthy piece I've seen from, well, actually, they do a lot of them, but that is just, to me, it's just, this was her reading the comments, even though she doesn't apparently, and seeing that everyone has probably picked up on the fact that Harry just looks so miserable, doesn't really acknowledge her in any way. And so, yeah, so that was just like, no, Harry, we need to make it look like we're in love. Honestly, you stand there, pretend you're reading something, pretend you're cracking a joke, and I'll just laugh at you because it's so funny what you've just said. Oh, Harry, you old charmer, you. So you just know that it was just, but the camera was there to capture that moment. They probably set it up on a tripod in front of them. It's like, no, we're gonna do this. We are gonna do it. We're gonna make people think that we are in love, Harry. I don't care what you say. We're going to do it. So you stand there, act funny, and I will just, I just look pretty and laugh. So yeah. And then we have another situation, which I believe was it the next day, where she's wearing this striped, she's worn it before, this striped blouse and trousers. And I will add, before I actually get to that bit, I will add that what's interesting I found was, one, I did feel the suit that she wore wasn't really appropriate because it was almost like buttoned down. It was showing a little bit of, almost like quite a lot of sort of bare sort of cleavage skin, but you couldn't see the cleavage, if you know what I mean. It's quite open in a sense. For a humanitarian award that is about children, which is about protecting children, which is a laugh within itself, I just want to add, given what she does and who she's just supported, Balenciaga. But I just found that a little bit appropriate. But what I noticed was it was better fitting. And I absolutely guarantee, and I've again said this before, that she's now she's watching Victoria Beckham. She's watching Catherine in a sense. I mean, she's always done that. But I think she wants to emulate Victoria Beckham. You've only got to look at her walk out of the Paris Fashion Week where I'm actually going to be a little bit catty now. I do apologise. But I know people have said it the Zoolander walk, but it almost looked like a velociraptor. You know, a Tyrannosaurus Rex has their little arms up. It just like looks like, it just reminded me of that. Oh, sorry. Oh, but anyway, but stony faced, not smiling. And what is the one thing that Victoria Beckham often gets sort of attention for is not smiling, looking like she's not happy. So I truly do think that she's now going to be studying Victoria Beckham, which I want to add, because of course this award ceremony, funnily, was on the same day that Victoria Beckham was doing her presentation for her Netflix series, where she did a documentary. Now, sorry, that's not a coinky-dink. And again, it shows that she's not supporting Netflix, Meghan. And I think this is a clapback by Meghan, because Netflix are now supporting Victoria Beckham, and they did absolutely rave about Victoria Beckham when they had their ceremony, where they showcase all of the up and coming programs coming up in 2025. They never mentioned Meghan's as ever, but they literally glowed and glowed and glowed and literally fluffed up Victoria Beckham of how amazing she is, how wonderful this is. So that is going to have annoyed Meghan anyway. But the fact that this award ceremony was on the same day, come on, that's not a coincidence in my opinion. So Meghan attempting to overshadow Victoria Beckham and Netflix. So that there shows you that Netflix are done with them, and Meghan knows this. So as ever hasn't been renewed. I think there's not really been any talks of anything else apart from what we heard in the beginning of this, I don't know, Meet Me by the Lake or whatever it is. So I think that this was a clapback by Meghan. I purposely think because Murchywell is partnered with this award project Healthy Minds. So I think that they found out when the promotion was going to be for Victoria, and they set that award ceremony. Can't prove it, but I just, knowing her the way I believe I know her, that's exactly what she's done. So I truly do believe that this is now going to be Meghan attempting to go into fashion, and she's going to try to get her own clothing line, and she is going to try to, I suppose, overtake Victoria Beckham in the creative, because also she knows the Princess of Wales, Catherine, supports Victoria Beckham because she came out in that beautiful green trouser suit again at the same time. So in a way, showing support for Victoria Beckham. So they all know, in my opinion. And what was Victoria Beckham wearing? A beautiful white suit, showing this is how you wear white. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't believe I am, and other people have picked up on it too. So I think that this was intentional. So this is now going to be Meghan going up against Victoria Beckham, and we know that she absolutely dislikes Victoria Beckham, and more so because she knows how much they are close to William and Catherine. So this is why I've always said that she's been trying to utilize people on her podcast, these millionaires who have companies, because she wants backers. She has tried to show, as ever, as being a popular, successful brand. This was the guinea pig to start it all off. And in my opinion, she's either got them or she's attempting to get them. And this is why I truly do believe that those two, when she does secure something, and I believe she will, because the one thing I will say above anything else is that she knows how to grift. And the more powerful she gets, in the sense of like the more money she has, the more she can buy people, which we're seeing, which she buys awards, she buys her way into things. So I truly do believe that's what is next in line. So she's now going to be competing with Victoria Beckham. Now, the difference being is that Victoria Beckham has worked her behind off to get to where she is. When she first started coming away from the Spice Girls, going into this, everyone mocked her. They did not take her seriously. So she has worked so hard, nearly losing everything, to become a successful designer with her makeup brand. Meghan hasn't got work ethic. She doesn't care about it. She wants other people to do things, but she'll take the credit. So whether or not I think that she's going to be successful, no, I don't believe she will be successful. But I think that she will do the half-assed thing to get to the Met Gala, to do other things, to try and overshadow. But she's not well respected. The problem we have is the mainstream media. When they put things out, like for example, when Meghan did that contrived meeting with Anna Wintour, the way the media portray this is like, oh, they had this lovely little meeting and they were so friendly and chatting. No, this was just Anna Wintour just being civil and courteous. You can tell. There's no way Anna Wintour is going to be disrespectful to Victoria, who's her friend, who does actually appear in photographs with her, has a photograph taken with Anna Wintour and the Beckhams together. Whereas with Meghan, there was none of that. This was just an orchestrated meeting, I think, by Meghan to get the shot. And I said that before in my other video. So I think this is now what we're having. So she's now going to move into, let's say, the fashion circles, because everything else has been exhausted. No one's interested in Hollywood. No one has been interested. Netflix have not really, have just literally done what they've needed to do, and then that's it, they're done. No one's really interested in her jams and her spreads and her flour sprinkles and her cookie, whatever it is, and her ridiculous wine. No one's interested. So now it's going to be, okay, what's next? And this is what she does. This is what she does. It's try one thing, throw it away. And I say, and if she was a decent person, a nice person, I would actually applaud that and say, you know what, at least she's trying. At least she's trying to make it work. But she's not a nice person, and she's doing it for nefarious means. She does things to sort of, like I say, to clap back at people. She does things to try and ruin somebody else. And she's a very, very nasty individual. Going back to kind of the striped shirt that she was wearing, you then have that she turns up, and I think I've got a video where she turns up with Harry, and again, no one is paying any attention to them. No one's really that interested. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something that I forgot to mention? But please bear in mind that I will be talking about other things in my next video, but always drop in the comments because you might have seen something that I haven't seen. And that's it really from me until the next video. So have a great rest of the week, whatever you are doing. And as you know, as always, I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye. Mwah.